Hi everyone! For this class you are going to need 1 or 2 preferably blocks or hardback books, and if you've got something that resembles a bolster, like a bolster, or some rolled up towels or a blanket, or even just some really kind of firm cushions, then grab them. And when you're ready, come back to the room, come back to the video, and we'll get started. Let's begin in a comfortable seat. I always like to elevate my pelvis just a wee bit, so if you have got a bolster or some cushions, maybe grab them. And you can sit cross-legged or you can sit in hero pose, virasana, with your knees on the floor and your feet back behind you. If you're taking a cross-legged stance, allow the feet to be loose. Take a wee moment to let yourself settle. Close down your eyes. Relax your jaw. Let your body get heavier. Shoulders drifting away from your ears, your elbows acting like anchors, pulling the arms gently downwards. As you breathe, feel your spine lengthen and shorten. Your inhale sends the crown of the head upwards. The exhale draws it down just a touch. Notice how your bones respond to your breath. Donna Farey talks of how, as we breathe, our bones are like little boats bobbing up and down on water. Maybe tap into that imagery now. Any thoughts that are bothering you, allow them to drift off like seaweed floating on water. Perhaps you'll meet that thought again later on, but for now, you are just you, no thoughts, here in this moment. We're exploring the theme of Aparigraha today. Those of you that have been practicing with me for a while, we've been doing this throughout the month. Aparigraha is one of the yamas. It loosely translates as non-grasping. How do we not grasp onto things? Non-grasping doesn't always mean letting go. It can mean softening our sense of maybe ownership of something. Allowing us to understand that change is a constant. Allowing us to welcome the idea of change instead of fearing it or trying to get a grip on it. We'll try and explore this idea of non-grasping through pranayama to start with, some yogic breathing. We'll inhale for 4, hold our inhale for 4, and then we'll exhale for 5. This is a new pranayama for some of us, so I'll talk you through it. We'll continue the cycle like that, so it's sort of a triangular shape if you were to add a shape to the breath. So inhaling for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 5. Let's start breathing in slowly through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold your breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhaling again for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale again. Work through this cycle for a few more rounds of breath. Continue breathing this way. Notice how you are feeling in these different sections, these 3 sections of the breath. As you inhale, do you feel that sense of excitement? Do you feel like you are owning your breath as you draw the inhale inwards? As you hold your inhale, how does that make you feel? Do you start to feel a little tense, a little full? And as you release that long exhale, do you notice that sense of relief with the release? Do you find your body becomes calmer and heavier? Perhaps you don't feel these things, or perhaps these ideas resonate with you. Remember, we all experience things differently. One more round like this. Okay, and once you've finished that final long exhale, allow your inhales and exhales to come naturally to you. If you're sitting on something, make your way off that seat. Move your props off to the side. And then find a cross-legged position if you're not already in one. If you've been in one for a while, maybe just change the cross of the legs to the awkward feeling way. And from here, take your hands down towards your knees and make some gentle neck rolls, really slow. Drawing the chin down to the chest, allowing your ears fall over to one shoulder then the other. Change direction. Let your shoulders get nice and heavy. Let your chin drop down to the chest. Hold here. Take your fingers onto your knees if they're not there already. On your next inhale, pull the chest forward. Lift your head, maybe tilting the head backwards. As you exhale, round into the spine. Moving through some seated cat-cows. Inhale, pull forward. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, close in. 2 more like this. Come back to a tall seat. Open your eyes if your gaze was closed off, and grab your block or blocks. And you're going to place them at the top of your mat, stacked on top of one another. And come to face your blocks. Take your feet into a child's pose shape. So you're sitting on your feet. If that's uncomfortable, you can sit on a cushion, or you can sit your bum between the feet like this. Knees are wide. We're going to start opening up into the back of the upper spine and through the chest and shoulders as well. As you inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. And as you exhale, bend your elbows so they become cactus shape, like this. Draw the elbows towards one another and wrap your right elbow over your left, bringing the back of the palms to touch, or maybe high-fiving the hands. If that doesn't feel good, grab onto your shoulders here instead. Press down through the tops of the shins, which are in contact with the ground. Lift up through the elbows. And as you inhale here, imagine that your body is expanding so much out through the back of the upper spine that you could rip your clothes at the back, like Incredible Hulk style. Your breath is so powerful and strong. Notice if you're really flaring the ribs here, and try to draw them in gently, lengthening the tailbone downwards. And then keep this crisscross with the arms, unless your hands are on your shoulders. If your hands are on your shoulders, bring your palms to touch like this, so you're high-fiving them. And then lean your elbows forward so that you're pressing them down towards the blocks in front of you. And then readjust your seat so that your legs are in a child's pose formation. So knees are wide, toes are touching, your bum's drawing down towards the heels. And then you want to snuggle your head, either chin on top of the arm, doesn't matter left or right, or use your arms like a headrest in a massage table. So you're going to squish your face down, forehead snuggling into that wee nook of the elbow. If this is causing your shoulders too much sensation and it's feeling unpleasant, then unravel your arms, bring your palms to touch so that the elbows are resting on the blocks still, but they're not wrapped around one another. Continue to let your breath be really strong and full here. Three more breaths. And then unravel. Draw your knees close together bring your forehead down towards either your hands or a pillow or the ground. And if your hands aren't underneath your forehead, extend the hands back behind you, maybe even reaching your fingers towards your heels. So very small, wee child's pose. You're like a little egg. Allow the back of the shoulders to broaden, allow the front of the shoulders to get heavy and pulled down towards the earth. And these resting poses that we take between each yin pose allows the body to rebound and reset. And it also allows you to explore what sensations you have been playing with. It gives you some time to reflect, see how the body is feeling. Notice how your mind coped with the stillness. Slowly start to bring yourself back up to a seat. Take your hands back behind you. Free your legs, bring your feet to the ground and allow the knees to wave from one side to the other. Windshield wiper legs. Just to get any sensation back into the legs that's disappeared. Let's take that same shape again on the second side. So coming back into either a Virasana shape, so bum between the heels, or just sitting on the feet with your knees a little wider. You can sit on something if you want to. And then as you inhale, reach your arms to the sky. And as you exhale, cactus into the arms. Draw your elbows towards one another. This time your left elbow is going to reach over the right. Back of the palms to touch, or palms are high-fiving, or you're giving yourself a cuddle here. Do you know what? I have changed my mind. I'm going to bring my legs a little closer. It's making me feel a bit more stable. So if you feel the same way, maybe do the same thing. Bring the legs a bit closer. Lifting up through the elbows. Push out through the back of the heart space. Filling your lungs through the back. Again, watch if you're really flaring the ribs here. Pull your navel inwards. Lengthen your tailbone downwards. Lift up through the crown of the head and the elbows. And then from here, start to lean forward, bringing your elbows down onto the block. Remember, if it's too much of the same, if it's feeling too intense, you can unravel the arms, press your palms to touch instead, bringing the insides of the elbows together. Notice if one side is feeling tender compared to the other, or if one side really, really loves this stretch and the other doesn't so much. Take your time, very slowly unravel from this shape again, coming back into a nice wee child's pose. If your knees are a bit tired, you can just come to lie on your belly instead. Arms back behind you, forehead to the ground or a block or a cushion. If you had your head turned in one direction for the first resting pose, change the direction for this one. Slowly make your way back up to a seat. Take your time. Take your feet to the floor in front of you. Bend your knees. Same again, windshield wiper legs from side to side. We're going to continue to open up into the heart space. Grab your blocks and take one block to the top of the mat on its lowest setting, and then the other block is going to come maybe a block and a half's distance away. This is a really hard one to judge because it's going to depend on the height of your body, your torso. Those of you who practice with me a lot, you will know this because we do it all the time. All the time. We're going to come into a supported fish pose. It's a really large thoracic back bend shape. We're going to keep the block underneath the head to start off with, even for some of you that just love that whoosh sensation, because what we just did with our shoulders there and with our chest was quite extreme, and your body is probably still digesting that. So the top block is going to support your head. The second block is going to slide underneath the shoulder blades. So the top of the edge is going to be underneath the shoulder blades. Take your time coming into this shape. If you want to have a bolster nearby for your legs, it's going to feel pretty yummy. That's what I'm going to do. Starting with your feet on the ground, take your hands back behind you to that second block and slowly lower yourself down until you feel like the block is directly underneath the shoulder blades. Oh, I need to move this up a little bit. And then take your head down to the block that's at the top. So try to ensure that you've got symmetry going on here. Obviously, our bodies are not symmetrical, but with your setup, close your eyes and feel, okay, is this point of the block on the left hand side mirroring where it is on the right hand side? And if it's not, please take your time to adjust yourself. The reason we want the shoulder blades to slide over the top of the blocks is because it allows our arms to be free. You'll know it when you get it. Let the shoulders drop and then extend the arms out wide. This shape we're going to be in for about 4 minutes or so. If it's feeling way too loud, take a bend into your knees, taking your feet to the floor or a bolster. And if you're enjoying the sensation in the back body, you can maybe add a little leg variation. Perhaps your feet are going to come to touch. Perhaps you're going to take the feet onto the bolster to touch. Get a wee hip opener as well. Feel supported by your props here. Know that they've got you. They aren't going anywhere. Once you get that idea into your head, hopefully it'll encourage you to get even heavier through the back body. And as you allow that density to come into play, you'll feel the lift of the heart space, those kind of two opposing ideas, this lightness and lift in the heart and the density of the back body pulling you down towards the ground. Got one more minute here. Roughly 10 breaths. If you're finding this shape is a challenge, perhaps count your breath. Okay, take your feet back down to the ground. Take your hands either side of your body and press your elbows down so that you can lift the heart space off the block. Lift your head, tuck it into your chest. Walk your hands backwards and lift your body up. And with those knees bent, you're going to come all the way forward and give yourself a wee cuddle. Drawing your head down. This is quite an extreme opposite to what we were just experiencing. So allow your body to soften into this fold quietly, gently.
Notice if your jaw is clenched. Try and release that tension. Allow your head to get even heavier, snuggling yourself into your body. Okay, sit yourself back up. Taking your hands back behind you. Let's just remove any props underneath your legs. Have your other props nearby, but just off to the side. Keeping that bend in your knees, take your right foot, cross it over your left thigh, and then take the hands back behind you. Creating a number 4 shape with your legs. Start to wave the knees from side to side, opening up into your hips. Come to stillness. Walk your hands as close as you can to your sit bones, and then tiptoe the left foot over to the right hand side and sandwich your legs together. For some, this is going to look a bit more like this, and that's completely fine. It's just how open our hips are feeling. If you've got quite a large space here, maybe grab a block or cushion and place it underneath your right knee. If you feel like you need to sit on something to give you a bit more space, that's also going to help draw the knee downwards because your hips are going to have more room. Okay. Flex into your feet if it's comfortable to do so. Sit up nice and tall. Grab your blocks. Take them in front of you so that your hands have got something to rest on. Then from here, walk both of your blocks over to the right hand side. So you're starting to feel a nice twist in the body, but try and keep your hips facing forwards. Maybe walk them a little further around towards the right hand side if that feels okay. And then from here, continue to walk the right block all the way to the right hand side until it's in line with your right hip. Maybe walk that way a little bit. Keep your right hand on it. Twist your torso round so it's facing the front. Then bend into your right elbow. Lean over to the right hand side. Lift your left arm up and overhead and let it arc over the top of the body. Let your left hand go lazy here. Maybe it's going to grab to the back of the head. You can take your block onto a lower setting if you want, and you can rest your elbow down on it. If that feels good, maybe rest your elbow and take your right hand towards the head. This is pretty large in the lats. Then the left hand side of the body, you're going to feel strong tension tugging here. It should feel quite nice, but if it's too much, remember you've got the option to come up a little bit or to adjust your blocks. Three more breaths like this. Relax your jaw. Slowly bring yourself back up. You'll probably feel pretty lopsided. Take a wee counter twist to the left hand side briefly. Come back to face forward and then walk your hands forward, coming into a soft forward fold. There's no need to collapse yourself forward. If it feels good in your body, feel free to do that. I would suggest using a prop here to support yourself. A bolster perhaps underneath the forearms. Maybe even a chair if you're nearby. It's always nice to cradle the head in your hands. Slowly bring yourself back up. Take your hands behind you. Take your feet to the ground. Allow the knees to wave from side to side. And we'll set up for the second side now. So keeping your feet flat on the floor, nice bend in your knees. This time you're going to take the left ankle over your right thigh and then add a wee bit of movement from side to side here. Got a really good hip pop there. And come to stillness and walk that right foot over to the left hand side. Sandwich your legs together. Back in Agni Stambhasana or fire log pose, sometimes called double pigeon. I'm sure you can see why in the hips. Same again, if you need any props for underneath the left knee, grab them or underneath your sit bones. Grab your blocks again. And if you've not got blocks, just do fingertips and take them in front of you just briefly so you can feel that firing up in the glutes, stretching away. Then walk the blocks over to the left-hand side, starting to take your twist to the left. Feel everything start to shift in that right hip. Maybe walking the blocks really far round to the left, taking your time, finding your kind of biting point, I guess. You don't want to reach too far. You don't want to not reach enough. And then walk the left block a little further round towards the left, so the block on the left hand side, until that block is in line with your left hip. Then twist round, so your torso is facing the front. Reach your right arm up and overhead and arc over to the left hand side. You can either keep that block on its highest setting, or you can take it a little bit lower, maybe resting the forearm down. If you want, you can take your hand, right hand, to the back of your head. And if you want to explore an even more intense shape, you can take your left fist perhaps underneath the left ear. 2 more breaths here. And then slowly bring yourself back up. Take a wee counter twist briefly to the right hand side. Face back to the front and then lean your fingertips forward, maybe coming onto a bolster. Another nice thing to do here is to take your elbows towards the left leg. So maybe right elbow in your left foot, left elbow in your left knee, and rest here. Curl your head down. And slowly bring yourself back up to a seat. From here, let's lie all the way down on our backs. Have your props nearby. If your body temperature is dipped, maybe grab something cozy. Come to lie down. Take your feet to the ground. Walk them as wide as your mat or even wider. Knock your knees into the middle and allow your hands to rest on your body, sliding the shoulder blades together on the back of the spine. Close your eyes, enjoy some space in constructive rest. And then from here, you're going to draw your knees into your chest and give yourself a big cuddle. Maybe we rock from side to side. Maybe make some circles with your knees so that you can massage your lower back. And our final shape before Shavasana is going to be Happy Baby. If you are in your sleepy zone already and you don't want to do anything as effortful as that, then I would grab your bolster and just take your feet onto the bolster so you've just got that slight lift in your hips. Otherwise, draw the knees into the chest, grab onto the back of the legs, send your feet towards the sky. Either hang here by clasping your hands around one another, around the back of the legs, or reach your hands towards your feet. Fingertips are grasping around the outside edges of your feet and your arms and elbows are threading to the inside of your knees. Allow your knees to go wide. Draw the chin down. Make the back of the neck long. Let your breath fill your lungs. Let it change the shape of your belly, pushing the air upwards and outwards to the sides. Every time you exhale, enjoy the space you've created in your hips. Allow the knees to go wider and pull further down towards the armpits. If you're holding tension in your tummy or tension in your butt, soften that now. It's a perfect shape for digestion. It's a great example of practicing Aparigraha, non-grasping. And then soften through the knees, allowing your heels to come a bit closer towards your sit bones. Still holding onto the feet if that's where you're holding, or still holding the hands if that's where you're holding. And then gently, slowly release your feet down to the ground. Take your feet as wide as your mat, knock your knees into the middle. Let your hands come to either your torso to give yourself a hug, or extend the arms back behind you and grab opposite elbows, giving yourself an open hug. Receiving all the energy from the room. Notice what your hands are doing here. If you feel like they are tight, grasping, release that grasp. Just allow your body to hang where it is. And from here, let's set ourselves up for our Dream Shavasana. Maybe you're already there. You might want to extend your legs. You may want to grab a jumper. I'd suggest reclined. And when you're ready, close your eyes. Relax your jaw. Soften all of the muscles in your face. Notice if you're pulling slightly at the hairline with your facial muscles, and just release that tension now. Purse your lips and then part them, creating space between the lips and the teeth for your breath to enter and escape. Feel the weight of your tongue in your mouth. Feel the coolness of your breath. Every time you inhale, imagine lengthening the sides of your neck. Every time you exhale, feel your shoulders push further away from the ears, rolling down the mat.
Notice how your chest rises and falls, how your belly billows with each inhale and each exhale. Feel the weight of your pelvis on the floor. Feel the softness of the muscles in your bum, in the back of the legs, the front of the legs. Feel the space behind your knees. Notice a little bend. Feel how light your shins feel right now, and how free and spacious your ankles are. Enjoy the stillness of your feet, maybe mapping around your toes. Finally, bring your attention up the body, back towards the hands. Unfurl your fingertips. Allow there to be space in the palms, space between each knuckle. Non-grasping fingertips. Soft, relaxed, and responsive to your environment. Let's rest for another minute or so. If you're happy as you are and you want to stay resting, please do. Otherwise, start to bring a bit of movement into the body, fingers and toes. Deepen your breath. Stretch yourself out. And hug your knees in close to your chest. Roll to one side and bring yourself slowly towards a seat. Sitting nice and tall, draw the tailbone down, lift the crown of the head up, and pull your ribs inwards slightly. Rest your hands somewhere on your body, maybe on the legs, or maybe on your belly, or maybe on your heart space. See this as a wee gesture of self-love to yourself. And we're going to finish with 2 strong breaths together. Breathe in through your nose. And exhale fully. And again. Thank you so much, everyone. Good job. Hope to see you again soon, either live or in a recording. Lots of love. Mwah.